if you believe that employees can constantly improve, constantly gain new skills, constantly gain new abilities, then this book will help them achieve that goal. On the other hand, if you're an HR leader and you believe that once you recruit a genius, that person is a genius, it is ever going to remain a genius, and you don't have any work to do, that person is done and all you have to do is keep them employed, this book is probably not for you. This book is for people who want to use it as a tool to get a remarkable workforce. And that takes work.
Guy, your podcast title is Remarkable People. I love it.
Thank you. I have some remarkable answers for you.
The kind of guests that you get and the kind of questions that you ask are really captivating.
Ah, thanks. Thanks. It takes hours of prep for every one of them. So I'm sure you understand that.
So, Guy, how do you draw out the best stories and insights from your remarkable people?
Um, well, some of it is just preparation. I read their book, I watch their videos. I've spent 3, 4, 5 hours preparing for a 1-hour call. And on top of that, honestly, my secret sauce is I have 40 years of working on the front lines.
This is a personal take. I just want to say that if you are the chief evangelist of Canva, I've been with you on that journey for I guess the whole time that you've been at Canva. And even prior to that, I've been a user from the start. So if you're
Thank you.
evangelizing, I'm one of your followers then.
Thank you. We have a big team in Philippines. I don't know of a race of people who are more happy. They are always happy. I've never seen an angry or sad Filipino in my life. So it must be something to do with the DNA or the water or something. Maybe it's the balut.
Oh, have you tried balut?
No. I like lumpia though. Lumpia is one of my favorite dishes.
Same here. Yeah.
Maybe this is one of the reasons why Guy is so happy always, because I've seen in many interviews and podcasts people asking Guy, how do you remain so happy?
It's the lumpia.
You started your podcast pre-pandemic. I think the last one I was listening to was the IBM head of research, where he was trying to explain quantum computing. You have done hundreds of podcasts with all these, leaders, successful people, entrepreneurs, and business leaders. So, what are some of the recurring themes or qualities that you have observed, and
Well,
that sets them apart? If you can, tell us some insights on this.
Well, okay, so that's a very good lead in because we've conducted these 200 and something episodes and we've interviewed very remarkable people. You mentioned Dario Gil from IBM, the AI and quantum computing guy. But we also have Jane Goodall, Steve Wozniak, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Stephen Wolfram, the youngest MacArthur Fellow, Angela Duckworth MacArthur Fellow, Bob Cialdini, the father of influence, David Ocker, father of branding. So we have absolutely remarkable people. And I began to notice patterns, which led me to want to write the book. Because right now, with 200 and let's say 220, that's 220 hours of listening and about 4,500 pages of transcripts. And that's a lot to ask anybody to go through. And so we figured out, well, let's distill this down, and we set ourselves a limit of 200 pages because as a writer and a business writer and a business reader, I know so many business books, they spend about 300 pages to explain one idea. Like one idea. I mean, after you tell me that, this is the way to do this, or, like minimum viable product or whatever the concept is. I don't need 300 pages of explanation. I mean, something is wrong with you if you need 300 words. So I can tell you that my book is 170 pages long, and there are 88 tactics explained on how to make a difference and be remarkable. So roughly each tactic gets 2 pages. And I'm telling you that in 2 pages, someone who has a chance to be remarkable and make a difference, you will understand what I'm saying. And you don't need 298 more pages to prove what I said.
If people tell you to go after your passion, you suggest that they instead they pursue their interests.
I think that it's much more reasonable that as you go through life, you do a lot of sampling. So you try a lot of things, and some of these things take root, some don't, but there's a lot of itches. And some itches you scratch, or scratch as many itches as you can until you find something that really, really captivates you. But to go through life saying, I gotta find this passion. I know it's like gonna be love at first sight, and it's gonna like be instantaneous and all that. You're setting yourself up for failure. That's too high a bar. Just find some interesting things and try them and play with them and explore them, and knock on wood, someday they will turn into a passion.
I have some questions about the world of work today because you have worked in some of iconic companies, Apple in those days, and then Canva today. And so, if you look at the world of work today, and how the companies are operating in, I mean, we have seen so many trends for the last 3 years, from the Great Resignation to the rise of remote work to the fight back around return to work. So, how do you see the world of work today with all
Yeah.
these trends, basically transforming the employer-employee relationship? How do you see it today?
That's a hard question for me to answer because I have not worked, as an employee for decades. So I'm on the outside looking in because of the pandemic just changed everything, right? So, who would have thought that so many people can work remote and people can be so efficient working remotely and all that? And I will make one statement though, that diversity is good. And diversity means of gender, sexual orientation, race, religion, height, weight, skin color, whatever it is, expertise, engineering, marketing, finance, ops. And I think that the more diverse a company, the stronger the company. Because if you're all the same, you're going to all think the same and you're going to all make the same mistakes. So if I were looking for a job today, I think one of the most important top level is that the company supports a growth mindset. And a growth mindset says that people can learn, they can learn new skills, new tactics, new passions, new interests. And you may not be a genius today, but you can grow into positions. And one of the great clues that a company thinks like that is that they have, diversity programs, and they have training, and they have ways that employees can improve themselves.
I guess a big component of that is learning from failures, learning from mistakes. How does Guy Kawasaki view failure, and how do you deal with setbacks?
Well, I mean, the flip side of any failure is that it's a learning opportunity. Now, don't get me wrong. That's a really nice quote for a picture on the wall. And, that's a nice little saying in a book, because failure is painful, it's traumatic. You should do everything you can to avoid failure. I've had products that failed, I've had books that failed, I've had speeches that failed. It just comes with the territory. And after a while, you realize that it's not how often you fail, it's how often you succeed. And you could fail 5 times, but if on the 6th time you create a great, successful company, nobody cares about the first 5 times.
Our readers are based across Asia, so we have some 400,000 top level HR and business leaders.
So the case for HR leaders for this book is if you believe that employees can constantly improve, constantly gain new skills, constantly gain new abilities, then this book will help you help them achieve that goal. On the other hand, if you're an HR leader and you believe that once you recruit a genius, that person is a genius and is ever going to remain a genius, and you don't have any work to do, that that person is done and all you have to do is keep them employed, this book is probably not for you. This book is for people who want to use it as a tool to get a remarkable workforce. And that takes work. You know, I don't think that people on the first day of the job are perfect at all. And so I think you hire people and you throw my book at them, and these are ways to use growth and grit and grace to become a better employee. That's the assumption.
Top of head answers. Who are the 5 thinkers today that you go to for inspiration, for like getting the mind going?
They would be Carol Dweck, who is the mother of the growth mindset. There would be Mary Murphy. Mary Murphy is Carol Dweck's protege. So let me explain the difference between their work. Carol Dweck is work about, inside your head, this growth mindset. Mary Murphy has the insight that it's not just what's in your head, it's the organization that you're in. Because you could have a growth mindset and be stuck in an organization that is trying to preserve the status quo and not help employees grow, and you're not going to be happy in that. So Mary Murphy is the second one. The third one is Angela Duckworth. Angela Duckworth is the mother of grit. So now we covered, growth and grit. And then I think that there's an author named Bob Cialdini. He wrote the book called Influence. And I think that book, Influence, is such a useful career guide in how to influence and persuade people. Because in one's career, you have to influence and persuade people. And then the last one I would recommend is Katie Milkman. Katie Milkman is the next Bob Cialdini. And she has these great tactical tips about how to get from point A to point B using, psychological techniques.
One last question. So,
Yeah.
one piece of advice for me and Rachel.
I don't want you to think of this book nor my body of work as quote unquote self-help. Like this kind of self-help, like Guy is a visionary guru, thought leader, you should buy his book and then go to his conference. And so my advice to you is that if you want people to think that you're remarkable, the process is not to decide one day, oh, I'm going to be remarkable. How do I position myself that way? The way it works is you focus on making a difference. You make the world a better place. You don't have to be Jane Goodall or Steve Jobs. You don't need to be a trillionaire or sell hundreds of millions of computers. You just need to make a difference. It could be to one client, one student, one team. One teacher could do it. One mentor could do it. And you make the world a better place. You make a difference. And then if you make enough difference, people will have no choice but to consider you remarkable. So the way you get to be remarkable is not by trying to be remarkable. You get to be remarkable by making a difference. And there are 88 ways in 170 pages to make a difference in this book.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guy. Thank you. Thank you, Guy. Thank you for talking to us. It was lovely
you.
talking to you. It was insightful, really insightful. I really
All right.
appreciate it. And thank you once again for being a part of it.